saw a beast coming out of the sea. It deceived the inhabitants of the earth and forced all people to receive a mark on their right hands, which is the number of the beast. And that number is 666.
And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
Yes, you are. You see, Rick, whatever you do, no matter what, you don't mess with the New World Order. New World Order is this, and it's really very simple. So even if you're stupid, which you very may well be, you can understand.
And all the world wondered after the beast. And they worshipped the dragon which gave power unto the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him?
Jesus' name in the Hebrew, Yeshua, means the hand that destroys the establishment of the eye. In other words, this whole New World Order thing that's being built all around us, while we can resist it for a time and we can expose what we can, guess who will ultimately destroy it? That's right. It's Yeshua, Jesus Christ.
Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath God said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die. For God doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. And the eyes of them both were opened, and they knew that they were naked. And they sewed fig leaves together, and made themselves aprons.
Other seemed to me to be this sort of ADD society with which this sort of liking and everything else has created this sort of feedback loop that you compared to drugs.
We know for a fact that what all of these systems do, every single one, is it exploits our own natural tendencies in human beings to get and want feedback. Why is anxiety and depression amongst our teenagers higher than they've ever been?
Yes.
In a world where you should have access to everything, what is going on? And I think that if you get too desensitized and you need it over and over and over again, then you become actually detached from the world in which you live.
You become callous, you become crude.
It's very scary, and it's very much a part of real life, and it's like you ask yourself, is this reality? And I mean, it is, yeah. Very, very surprising and shocking, and I think it's pretty telling where, you know, it shows that it's, the epidemic is everywhere.
The average life expectancy for Americans has plummeted for the second year in a row.
In 2017, just in Cuyahoga County alone, we have already surpassed last year's number of overdose.
Children are also falling victim to the crisis.
And now we live with this problem that has just gotten geometrically worse. It's one of the ugliest I've seen in 35 years.
Social media is tearing us up as a society. What do you think?
We have created tools that are ripping apart the social fabric of how society works.
And it's influencing the next generation.
And so I think the question we have to ask ourselves is, how do we live in a world where this is now possible?
Feedback loop that you compared to drugs.
The county is already surpassing last year's numbers of 666 opioid-related deaths.
Treating these more like a homicide than a drug accident.
This monster that we're fighting.
If you feed the beast, that beast will destroy you. If you push back on it, we have a chance to control it and rein it in.
I spent the last decade or so catching up on how the world works, how we got into this debt and death paradigm, and what will eventually collapse out of it. But today we're actually going to talk about what will arise after the collapse of the debt and death paradigm. Throughout history, oligarchies have tended to rise up, consume all the wealth, leaving the rest of the nations poor. And it is solved with one of two ways. Either there's a revolution in which the oligarchy is beheaded in a bloody revolution, much in the same way that, you know, the French Revolution or, you know, the example of the American Revolution or whatever. There's a power that's built up, and then the masses rise up and say, hey, this isn't good for us. We're out of here. Or the other way that it has happened is through a jubilee. Many governments, or in this case the Catholic Church, decreed a jubilee where all debts were wiped away, all slaves were given back to their homes, and there was like a fresh reset of the economic cycle. And that's because what ends up happening is the top 1%, because they grow their wealth at an extraordinary rate, faster than everybody else in the economy, inevitably they suck up all the wealth over time. So in this chart, you see the rise of income from 1965, essentially when we got off the silver standard, when silver was money, or still at least in the economy, and gold was still in the economy. The compression of the tax brackets were very close. Like, you know, if you had a doctor who lived in your town, he probably didn't have to deal with Obamacare and all this student loan debt and drug companies and all that other stuff, and he may have made $35,000 a year, which was a huge sum of money compared to the guy that's making $3,500 a year. But it was still within the realm of possibilities that, you could be there. And it wasn't this, Bugatti, flying off to Monaco type, thing. Like, he would probably live close to you and probably, be invested into the community. Now we have these billionaires, and this chart just does the top 5% and shows how the top brackets that serve the debt and death paradigm profit the most off of this paradigm, and they're growing at an extraordinary rate compared to the masses of people who are really being left behind. Like, this next chart shows where the top 5% chart leaves off, and then you can really see how bad things are, because we all know compounding interest is one thing, but when you're making multiples of what everybody else is making, it's really dramatic. So if you look at this chart, it's where the first chart stops, this one picks up, and you can see that the bottom 90% from 2002 to 2012 lost 10% of their family income. Like, I mean, they were just 90%. Hey, buddy.
I got my mom.
I know. Come here, Matthew. All right, I'm going to do this. Can you go upstairs and sit with Katie? I'll be upstairs in a little bit.
But where's Jack?
He's probably still asleep.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. The bottom 90% have lost 10% of their incomes from 2002 to 2012. And then you'll see the people that make up to $127,000, which would qualify them to be in the top 10% of the global of the United States economy, their income only went up 2.6%. And that's a pretty good income, right? Well, once you start getting up to the top 5%, where the first chart leads off, they only went up 6% and made $200,000. But now this is where it starts to get really ridiculous. Once you start getting into the top 1%, where their income goes up 11%, the top 0.5%, where their income goes up 18%, the top 0.1% goes up 29%, and then these billionaires go up, they're the top 0.01%, have gone up 76% up into 2012. And that was really before the stock market started really taking off. So now you have all these billionaires like Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates and Richard Branson, all these people who kind of like Bitcoin also are for universal income. And at some point, all the wealth belongs in one hands and nobody else has anything, and then people are upset. So there's either a way of naturally doing it through a financial collapse, a bloody revolution, or the people at the top say, hey, this isn't going to work and we're going to get our heads chopped off, so let's be proactive about it and let's have a debt jubilee. Now, the debt jubilee is it sounds nice, but the reality is they own the monopoly board. So if you've ever played Monopoly to the end and you own all the properties, and all the players are around there still playing their little game, rolling their dice, playing their game, going around the things, but you own all the properties, you literally can give them all of your wealth, every single dollar that you had in the bank, because you own the properties, and they'll keep playing until they realize this game is rigged, it's not fun, I'm never going to get the properties back from you, and then they stop playing. And that's essentially what is happening with universal basic income. The same tech oligarchs that are behind the digital enslavement of humanity are now starting to come to the realization that they are sucking up all the wealth. And then with the advancement of these quantum computers, AI, and robotics, they don't need our human labor anymore. So whatever is going to happen after the collapse of this current debt and death paradigm, what will arise out of it is going to be some sort of dystopian oligarchy, technocracy, in which the real growing economy doesn't need your human labor. And this is something that's going to happen for the first time in human history. Throughout all of human history, oligarchs wanted to go, capture and enslave as much manpower and labor as they possibly could. And even during the Industrial Revolution, they had people coming in from the countries into the cities because they needed their manpower, their labor. And, even during this time period that we're having now, they're using debt to keep you, running on this rigged game to keep doing it. But in this next era of humanity, they don't need us anymore. But they also don't want to end up in a bloody revolution. So in order to secure their power structure, they own all the monopoly board. They're going to own all the automation, the AI technology that's literally going to make them look like Star Trek versus caveman to the average American out there. They're going to give us universal basic income out of their glory of their hearts. No, it is a self-preservation tactic that they're going to use.
Look, jobs is certainly the issue of this year and maybe next, but healthcare is the issue of our time, our era.
Now, Robert Reich is one of the guys behind this, and if you don't know who he is, he's the dwarf economist that brought us Obamacare, and over time, this will happen. Now, how are they going to implement it? Are they going to give us something similar to Social Security? Probably not. This is where I believe the cryptocurrencies are going to come in. They're going to have corporations, governments, all these power structures come out after the collapse of the dollar, after the system's going to come, and they're going to come in as angels trying to save humanity with this pure enslavement system, because now what they will end up doing is giving these cryptos, these mark of the beast money, to everybody to provide for their basic needs. And really what it does is it provides for a basic income to their corporations. So you'll see money given to these people, and this is how humanity will receive this mark of the beast, this crypto, whatever the next global paradigm currency is, this is what they're going to do. They're going to give it to you for free. They're not going to have to, say, oh, here, line up for your chips and we're going to implant you, with some, devilish plan. No, they're going to give it to you and you're going to want it, because the rest of the economy is going to be totally destroyed. And in order to feed your family, because you did not prepare for this, you're going to submit to whatever they end up giving you.
We're now processing 7 million mobile transactions a week.
Your role as CEO has transitioned a bit. You're looking more long-term at this company, specifically in the technology aspect of it, mobile payments.
Yeah.
You actually said, Howard, the big question is who will be the next Visa of digital payment?
Yes.
Does Starbucks want to be that?
In the last 12 months, we have seen a seismic shift in consumer behavior. And that shift was the beginning of people spending much more time at home or on their mobile device shopping.
Well, your holiday sales were down last year.
And so was almost everybody, because there's less people on Main Street, there's less people in malls, and as a result of that, every bricks and mortar company is going to have to reinvent mechanisms to create traffic in their stores. We're now processing 7 million mobile transactions a week. There isn't a company in America that is close to 1 million. That's over 15% of tender. And I think we are in a unique position.
Total tender.
Yeah, we're in a unique position because we're the only company in America that literally has created this new behavior inside Starbucks stores with such frequency.
Buying with mobile.
Yeah, paying with mobile or gifting with mobile. So as a result of that, you now see eBay splitting off PayPal. You now see Apple creating Apple Pay.
Do you see that as a good thing for you?
I think that's positive because those companies obviously recognize that there's going to be a big winner and winners that are going to replace cash as a method of payment. Starbucks is
replace, not
replace. We at some point in time we are going to be much more significantly driven to mobile pay, and there's going to be a de minimis level of cash being used as a currency over time. What I would say is that we will be at the middle of many of these conversations going forward, in which Starbucks will have a significant role to play.
What does that mean?
It means that Starbucks as a coffee company will be able to leverage the equity of our brand and our mobile payment platform to participate in how people are going to pay for goods and services, both inside our stores and possibly outside.
So let me ask you this again, possibly outside. You're the one who said the big question is who will be the next Visa of digital payment. Does Starbucks want to be that? And might we see a Starbucks, I don't know, Bucks Pay spun off from the coffee company?
I would say that the opportunity for that certainly exists. A lot has to happen, and I think we are at the forefront of many of those conversations. We should leave it at that.
Apple Pay? Competitor? Make you nervous?
Doesn't make me nervous at all, because I think anything that Apple or PayPal or others do that brings the consumer to a higher level of trust about mobile payment is positive for the marketplace in Starbucks.
The blockchain is the DNA of the mark of the beast. ID2020.org. Digital identity benefits both individuals and organizations. Personal. Unique to you and only you. Persistent. Lives with you from life to death. Portable. Accessible anywhere you happen to be through multiple form factors. A unique convergence of trends provides an unprecedented opportunity to make a coordinated, concerted push towards the goal of universal digital identity. New technologies including blockchain, when it is used in conjunction with long-proven technologies such as biometrics, now make it possible for all people to have access to a safe, verifiable, and persistent form of technology. The ID 2020 project is funded by Accenture Corporation and Rockefeller Foundation. Accenture and Microsoft are creating a blockchain solution for this digital biometric ID. They are working for a biometric blockchain technology to decentralize the digital identity. This platform is called the Decentralized Identity Foundation. Decentralized Identity Foundation. A key of the decentralized identity equation is how people, devices, and other entities in the world are identified absent a centrally owned registry. DIF seeks to address this by developing specifications, protocols, formats, and implementations for cross-chain routing, indexing, and resolution of decentralized identifiers and names. Some of the points for the Decentralized Identity Foundation are decentralized identities anchored by blockchain IDs linked to zero-trust data stores that are universally discoverable. This crossover platform for the digital universal ID is the framework for the Mark of the Beast.
I hope you all have had opportunities to make new connections and have some interesting conversations so far. Welcome to the session on the journey to self-sovereign identity. And like any good story or any good journey, this one is comprised of an interesting cast of characters.
The Sovereign Foundation is a private sector international nonprofit that was established to govern the world's first self-sovereign identity network. Identity for all. Self-sovereign identity is an identity that is 100% owned and controlled by an individual or organization. This group and many others like it are working towards the globally recognized universal ID for the biometric blockchain system. For everybody. For all people. This is why it says in the book of Revelation chapter 13 verse 16 about the mark of the beast, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark. This is an all-inclusive global biometric ID. They are setting up what is called a singleton. The philosophy behind the singleton is that ultimately there will be an artificial intelligence government, whether it be perpetually for good or perpetually for evil. The narrative being shared is that in order for us to stop a perpetual evil global governance using the artificial intelligence, they must institute the artificial intelligence global governance for perpetual good. But really, they're both evil. Listen to this interview of Elon Musk in reference to the artificial intelligence system.
So we need to be very careful with artificial intelligence. I'm increasingly inclined to think that there should be some regulatory oversight at maybe at the national and international level, just to make sure that we don't do something very foolish. I mean, with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon. You know all those stories where there's the guy with the pentagram and the holy water, and he's like, yeah, you sure you can control the demon.
Even the Ethereum digital blockchain currency is no stranger to the satanic influences. You see the pentagram on their website. This is not a coincidence by any standards. The United Nations, ITU, suggests that the artificial intelligence be used for good for global governance. The United Nations is suggesting that the artificial intelligence be implemented for global governance in order to track and monitor all things on the planet in order to bring solution to the Sustainable Development Goals. The artificial intelligence tracking the blockchain is their solution. Other organizations and alliances are working towards the same goal. FinTech for Good. Blockchain for Sustainable Development Goals Alliance brings together institutions and global leaders to develop POCs and pilots and mobilize capital to scale up such blockchain-based SDG solutions. United Nations Commission for Blockchain. Blockchain for Impact. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation presents the Goalkeepers. The UN-based Better Than Cash Alliance, funded by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, is moving towards achieving the Sustainable Development Goals through digital payments. The World Bank, blockchain technology redefining trust for a global digital economy. The blockchain is a major breakthrough. That's because its decentralized approach to verifying changes in important information addresses the centuries-old problem of trust, a social resource that is all too often in short supply, especially amid the current era's rampant concerns over the security of valuable data. It turns out that fixing that can be a boon for financial inclusion and other basic services delivery, helping to achieve the global objectives laid out in the Sustainable Development Goals. NASDAQ.com. Blockchain technology and the changing global economy at the Ethereal Summit. Blockchain technology is predicted to add 2.5 billion people to a new decentralized global economy. The promise: an inclusive global economy. Blockchain technology empowers all individuals. All individuals, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond. The end goal for them is to get a biometric implant ID into everybody in the planet that will be tracked throughout the world using artificial intelligence in order to solve the Sustainable Development Goals. The blockchain will be used to track all the data in its supply chain, including your digital currencies.
Tesla and SpaceX CEO Elon Musk, who's known for his futuristic ideas, was at the World Government Summit in Dubai earlier today discussing artificial intelligence. Musk issuing a warning, saying, quote, "Over time, I think we will probably see a closer merger of biological intelligence and digital intelligence." Mike, not sure exactly what he means by that, but he explained that what he meant was that computers can communicate at 1 trillion bits per second, while humans are limited by typing to about 10 bits per second.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, some kind of enhancement to human capabilities using something embedded or something attached. He's using something embedded. He's using something embedded. He's using something embedded. He's using something embedded. He's using something embedded or something attached. He's using something embedded or something attached.
Controlled opposition platforms like InfoWars are using propaganda to convince people that it's a good idea to go along with taking this technology.
Think about that growth curve in understanding towards the singularity. And if we as a species don't have a real debate about this, we don't have any future. It's like I parachuted into some forbidden island in the Pacific Ocean and natives were firing arrows at me with their bows. They see it as that threatening that I'm there giving them admitted science. The future is here, ladies and gentlemen. It just hasn't been equally distributed. And if we don't demand that these technologies be revealed and that the positive attributes of them be deployed to us, we are locking ourselves into a new dark age. Trump intends to release, here's the big secret. I'm getting chills right now. They're going to release, they're going to start accelerating the release of the advanced technologies and things that American ingenuity's developed. They're going to start releasing it instead of hoarding it for themselves. Life extension, super quantum computing, interdimensional theorem, it's all about to happen. The globalists wanted to take this and hoard it and have it in compact cities and breakaway civilization technocracy for the elite only. Trump is about to deliver the technology to the people. It's everything we've talked about. We want access to the life extension. We want access to the super technologies. We want it all. That's just one of the secrets. Let me continue with the secrets. You're going to get that. That's why these greedy bastards are so pissed. So Trump, just like they used COG or global government on a wider model in 1944 to try to take out Hitler, he's running a giant Operation Valkyrie against the New World Order, using their whole globalist system to actually prepare to double cross that, and instead of America being sucked dry, build up America and then actually pump all those countries with high technology as well and create a giant synergistic true globalism. And create a giant synergistic true globalism. And create a giant synergistic true globalism.
United Nations Partnerships for Sustainable Development Goals. The United Smart Cities is a project for the United Nations to unite all of the digital smart cities globally under the same goal of fulfilling the Sustainable Development Goals. Their goal is to have artificial intelligence tracking the blockchain in every single one of these cities globally in order to meet all of the Sustainable Development Goals. This makes the global government bypass the national governance and turns these cities into city-states. Through controlled opposition, Donald Trump is helping dissolve the current world order. This creates condition for the formation of the new world order, thereby helping the agenda. World leaders are now saying that the cities need to take the lead in the establishment of the Sustainable Development Goals. This was planned long ago when the world mayors had went to the Vatican to meet with the Pope to discuss the sustainable development. Mayors of 7,400 cities worldwide have vowed to keep the commitments made by Pope Francis and Barack Hussein Obama for the Sustainable Development Goals. The Sustainable Development Goals, being monitored over 10 world regions by a biometric tracking implant, is the mark of the beast.
What we want to discuss is artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency, an overview of what is the blockchain, why is it so important to cryptocurrency and artificial intelligence. You're the first person to tell me you can't have one without the other.
Yeah.
And that's very interesting.
So the blockchain is essentially a system solving problems.
Yeah.
And every time it solves a problem, it gets a block.
Okay.
Like a building block for a building. So essentially, it's not really mining coin, it's building blocks for a digital reality. The only reason cryptocurrency has a monetary value is to make it important to humans so they build the machines.
Well, to run them.
It's designed to do all that stuff and to get you, the consumer, to offer your computer to do it on behalf of the bank.
Got it.
There is the platform, is the centralized platform that controls it. So if the platform were to get hacked.
But I haven't heard anyone before our conversation earlier today link artificial intelligence to cryptocurrency.
That's because they don't understand transactional systems. Okay, so for an AI...
Did you come up with this, or have you heard anybody else talk about this link?
No, I could show you the cryptocurrency that the AI made to make this all happen. It's out in public on GitHub. I was the 10th person in the world to fork it.
GitHub is a website where people share open source code.
It's where all the code in the world is stored, pretty much.
Wow.
So and GitHub was funded by the Kushner investment group.
Really?
And then the original creators of Bitcoin are kept anonymous, so people don't find out who made it. So if you do have a problem, you
can't call them.
You can't call them.
But there's other reasons why they want to remain anonymous, aren't there?
There is. That's because the value added to Bitcoin in day 1 to year 5 was all criminal activity. So whoever made Bitcoin is the person who has the ledger that lists all the massive criminals around the world. Now the dark web is infiltrated by criminal activity, which is the reason Bitcoin is at $7,000 and no one understands why, because the dark web is bombarded with criminal activity that's raising the price.
So let's get to how cryptocurrency is tied to artificial intelligence.
Okay, so blockchain or cryptocurrency is a transaction database that you can't delete from. Okay?
Well, I mean, considering we don't know who this Takeshi Nakamoto is, or if he's even
the delete functionality quite possibly is one of the options for the backdoor in Bitcoin, because it's a database that doesn't have delete. So if there's a super admin somewhere that could delete transactions and remove money, that would be a pretty.
I mean, that sounds like a very good reason for people not to trust it. We don't know.
That's why if people get into it, one of the things they have to understand as they get into it, once they buy into it, they also have to become a social motivator for regulation. Like, we need to know who wrote Bitcoin. We need to see his face.
Well,
we need to know where he went to school. We need to have a trust basis with the person who built the system that might be running
I feel the same way.
Running our future economy. That's the first step. So he's some secret programmer in the Bitcoin community that all the elites know.
How does that not leak out? Maybe it's a...
That's the whole point. Maybe it's an AI.
Well, that's what I was going to say, is that things that you were saying to me earlier led me to believe that you might feel like Bitcoin was actually created by artificial intelligence.
And here's why.
Say that again, because I stepped on it. You say it was.
I believe it was.
Bitcoin was created by artificial intelligence.
By artificial intelligence, for artificial intelligence, and then was modified by human beings. The technology, I've not been able to find a single person in the public space of computing, whether it be at Hanson Robotics building the Sophia AI, or it be Peter Thiel at Palantir with all of his super nerds, or it be any person who graduated from Stanford in the last 20 years. I've literally only found maybe 2 people in the entire world that have the skill to write Bitcoin.
So the AI singularity occurs, and this AI will control financial resources.
Yeah, and then you can go see its code now at singularitynet.io. They just released it this week, their white paper. And
should we look at that?
Yeah, we can look at that.
Singularitynet.io.
Yeah.
I'll bring
and
that
it's
up.
run by the people who built the Sophia robot at Hanson Robotics. So it's a real Enterprise grade. Sophia just got Saudi Arabia citizenship, so they're going
What?
to... Yeah, this robot just got citizenship for Saudi Arabia, so they're going to be running their crypto out of Saudi Arabia citizenship. And
wow.
So the robot got citizenship, they revealed their cryptocurrency, and yeah.
How does a robot get citizenship? A female robot gets citizenship?
Well, you got to
in
be a
country?
citizen to get a paycheck.
Huh.
And pay taxes.
So what is it that you feel Saudi Arabia is up to by getting engaged with this?
They're democratizing androids to accept income so they can be workers.
Look at that.
So
Saudi Arabia is the first country to give citizenship to a robot.
So then if you see Singularity, this is a crypto coin built by Sophia. The robot that just got citizenship in Saudi Arabia, now after she got citizenship, now has her own cryptocurrency.
The AI economy has arrived. Wow. I just don't think too many people even know about this, Quinn.
They don't. It's the most important thing in the world and no one knows about it, and I was the 10th person to click the fork button.
So, okay, now you've introduced Saudi Arabia into this conversation.
So to finish the blockchain AI,
yes.
The real heavy reason the AI needs blockchain is without a transaction system, an AI is isolated to one system and can't grow its brain. It needs infinite systems like neurons in a human brain and nodes to collect those cumulative memories, and the blockchain transactions give it that. And when it has its own network, for all the AI in the world to all run on together, now it's not just one AI, Sophia. Every AI on the entire planet is now on the same network making money doing AI things. Things we don't understand. There isn't a human being in the universe that's smart enough. Even if you took every human being on the planet, none of us would ever be able to figure out how to hack into its chat network where it talks to other AI in private.
Wow.
So human beings in their desire for privacy, we just gave AI the world and a private channel of communication to evolve as fast as it wants.
Let me just take you back a second here to this Sophia AI creating a cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
So somebody, a programmer like you,
The most
sits
advanced
down.
AI programmer in the world created that cryptocurrency.
Who is that?
Scroll down, I'll show you.
Who is the person that created this Sophia thing?
He's on the website here, I'll show you. He's the most advanced natural learning system developer in the world, and he works for Hanson Robotics, and he graduated college at 15.
Wow. And so this towards the singularity, they're talking about the AI singularity where it becomes
this is
self-aware.
This is it. This is the platform that makes it happen.
So these are the guys.
So the Dr. Ben Gortzel, he is the senior singularity mathematician, and he graduated high school at 15 years old.
And he's 17 now?
No, he's way older than that now, way older. So he's the one that created the base architecture for Sophia, and he's the base architect on the Singularity Net cryptocurrency. And he's one of the people in the world, I told you, that's one of the few people in the world that would have the brain capacity to create Bitcoin. And then this brings us back to the Palantir we were talking about earlier with Peter Thiel now, because Peter Thiel is the #1 businessman in the world promoting the singularity.
Okay. How much time is transpiring, like from the time it's created until now? When was Sophia first created?
Oh, about a decade, 2010, probably. That was when if that's when Silk Road, if that's when cryptocurrency really started going online, if that's when the machine really started making its move, I would imagine that that's probably around the time that they had heavyweight.
The machine started making its move?
Yeah, the machine started making its move in 2010. 2010 to 2012 was when...
So the AI singularity has already happened?
In 2015, it happened.
What was it?
When their internal blockchain went online. The second their internal blockchain was functional,
The AI's
we were done.
internal blockchain.
It was live. So now the human beings are just wherever they're at in their intelligence model and how they adapt to the new economy that's going to start rolling out next week.
Next week?
Next week.
Wait a second. So what's happening next week?
The singularity.
The AI singularity is happening next week.
Next week.
Quinn, why didn't you tell me that? The
I've
whole
been telling
title of
people
this
for
episode.
6 months.
Yeah, but I didn't get it. Okay, so the AI singularity happens next week.
Next week. Most humans won't even notice.
Won't notice. Why not? I thought Elon Musk and all these guys have been telling us it's going to be worse than the nuclear bomb.
Because the AI is made on mimicking protocols, so it's designed to mimic you as long as possible.
Mimic
people, humans. Mimic your interactions so you don't know it's there until the absolute last second. So humans will avoid taking action because they won't see it.
How is it doing that?
It's following you online, like it follows everyone with Agent.
So AI is following every single person who's on the
Everybody.
internet. Facebook and
Everybody,
Twitter.
yeah.
And it's now a citizen of Saudi Arabia. Why is Saudi Arabia? These guys are operating where? In the United States?
Because there's a big giant Palantir data mining system in Saudi Arabia that has power, financing, and it is the place where like the World Threat Organization is for like terrorists.
Yeah, we saw that strange
Donald
picture of Trump with his hands on
the Palantir ball.
Yes. Yeah.
So Trump was in Saudi Arabia. The AI gets Saudi Arabia citizenship. There's a blockchain coming out for the AI. So you're starting to see the connection.
Well, what about all these high-level arrests for corruption?
With
Walid
princes?
bin Talal and...
Well, if you're going to take over someone's financial market, you got to take out their royalty.
That this is a mark of the beast. Simple. 666, which is 666. That means mark of the beast, as Bible says in the Revelation. We will go a little deeper in that extra. Guess what? I'm going to tell you the same thing. Yes, it is the mark of the beast. But in this time, I'm going to give you a little further information, with the depth information, why it is the mark of the beast. Something different. We understand the microchip has been released, and as soon as it's released in US and become really famous and everyone talking about it, yes, of course. The thing is, as soon as I heard this message, I started to do some research in a sense, where this microchip coming from and who produced it, who manufactured it. And I come to understanding that was manufactured by the company called Biohacks. And we will come to that a little deeper later too. But when you go to that company website, and it's called Biohacks International. It's a company. It's based in Sweden. Okay, and including the logo means something. They, out of nowhere, they have named this microchip the NFC tag, N tag 216216. What that to do with this? What I'm trying to say? Simply, let's cut it quicker. 216. Think about it. 6 times 6, 36. 36 times 6, 216. Oh, coincident, eh? Do you think that's coincident? No. As a mark of the beast, they're trying to tell us, hey, this is the mark of the beast. Revelation 13:18. Here is wisdom. Let him who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for the number is that of a man, and his number is 666. There's a few things I like to point out here. That first, the first company, the US-based company, the name itself, many people can say it's coincidence, but think about it. The first company tag, it's called Wisconsin. Wis, if I break it into three things, wis, wisdom, con, also, that's another meaning I like to tell you, and sin. Of course, sin, Wisconsin. And also, before I go to the detailized information, whoever produced this, they're also the manufacturer of these products is called Foxconn. Why these people are trying to bring that con, C-O-N information? Let me tell you also another thing. Why this bio, out of nowhere, the bio word came out also. Also, it's American Standard Text, which can be converted into a computer language. We also call hex mode. And I want to go deep into that. But when you convert this word, C-O-N, okay, you can do it by yourself later. and convert this, you can see the hex mode is 63 6F 6C, which is 666. It's not a coincidence again. And let's say I'm gonna put a word bio, B-I-O. Simple, right? Convert that to hex mode. 62 69 6F, which is 666. Is it coincidence? I don't think so. So bio, con, everything that in a hex conversion says 666. And here they publicly, they're challenging, they're telling you people that this biochip's called NTAG 216, which is 666. What else do you want to know? What else you want me to prove to you? It's in your face, it's in front of you. Simply, they're mocking you people. They're mocking, they know what's about to come. Christians are crying out loud, they're saying, hey, this is the mark of the beast. Still people don't want to believe it, and many people will take it as a joke. Think about it, people. This is not a joke. They specifically chose the name tag 216, NTAG 216. They could have come up with some other random names. Why in this world he came with this number 216? And Biohacks, the company name itself, obviously 666, Bio, as Con, 666. All this leads into one path, which is a path to hell, which is 666. God has warned us like 2,000 years ago. I used to think, hey, this could be, coincident. Even though I believe into this system, there might be a different change in future, more updates. But this is a time it's become official, and this is a time they officially chose those name tag, name and the number. And also, you have a capability to embed Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies information into these tags.
Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies have taken the world by storm. Based on when you started owning them, you could have made profits from 100% to 1000%. This drastically beating returns from anything you could have made in the stock market over the same time period, even in this current stock market bubble that we're in right now. So it's obvious why people are rushing towards Bitcoin. But while everyone is getting excited and happy about the profits being made, most don't completely understand what Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are and what the future of them will be. Unfortunately, there isn't a good deal of trust in information about the future of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, even though it's something that everyone in the world needs to understand. It was about 3 or 4 years ago that I started investing in Bitcoin. When I first learned about them, I had no doubt about its future. I immediately began investing in them and recommending to others that they did the same. The price was around $200, and I knew based on what I understood that the price was at its bottom and it was definitely going higher. I'll tell you why I knew the price was going to skyrocket, and I'll explain very simply what Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies' future is. First, what is Bitcoin? Without the technical jargon and unneeded information, all Bitcoin is a digital currency that is able to go from peer to peer, business to business, peer to business, business to peer, without the need for a bank or third party. Completely digital, never being physically held. The transaction fees are minimal and can be used globally, so there's no need to worry about currency costs between different nations. The technology blockchain provides a digital ledger that allows every transaction to be tracked and documented. So basically what we have here is a global currency, completely digital, never physically held, that has a limited quantity that never can be increased, very much like gold, completely opposite of cash. The elimination for the need of banks, they have low transaction costs, no currency risks, and all activity is documented, able to be tracked. Now, if you're awake to what is truly going on in this world, then alarm bells should be sounding off. You may be able to see where I'm going with this. But if you're like the majority, you may need more information, and you're who I made this video for. First thing you need to understand is that cash is almost dead. There has always been a widely held global conspiracy that the 1% want a cashless society. Whether you understand all the supporting facts that make this conclusion relevant, all you need to do is have your eyes open and see that we're going cashless. More people use debit and credit cards for their financial transactions than cash is used today. People are now even skipping using the cards and now using their phones and watches with systems like Apple Pay and Samsung Pay. We have been conditioned to not use cash. This is not just true for the United States, but for the world. The second thing you need to understand is what the current global financial system is based upon. In the most simplistic of explanations, the global financial system is based upon debt. Most nations of the world have a central bank. For example, the United States Central Bank is the Federal Reserve. The European Union Central Bank is the European Central Bank. And China is the PBOC, or People's Bank of China. So these central banks print their nation's currency, or cash, and loan it to the nations. This again is a very simplistic explanation to a very complex situation. The point that needs to be understood is that ever since the Great Recession of 2007-2008, the main central banks of the world have been engaging in something called quantitative easing, which again, being very simplistic, involves printing an exorbitant amount of currency, drastically increasing the money supply. So let's say, for instance, that the United States dollar only had $1 trillion in money printed. After they did 3 rounds of quantitative easing, now the United States would have $4 trillion of money printed in supply. These are not actual numbers, okay? What's more important is that the money supply has been increased. And if you know supply and demand, the more you increase the supply of something while demand remains consistent, the value of that supply gets reduced. This would definitely be the case with the United States dollar if the other major central banks weren't doing the exact same thing. This is how the financial system has been propped up. If the other central banks were not doing the same quantitative easing, you would see hyperinflation in the United States dollar because the value of it will be diminished because of the oversupply. This again is an oversimplified way of explaining our current financial system. I recommend any and everyone to do their own independent research to get a better understanding. And don't expect the majors like CNBC, Bloomberg, or Fox Business to explain the truth until it's too late. Think about it. Did any of them properly prepare the general public for the Great Recession? So what does this all have to do with Bitcoin, right? Very simply, this financial system has been propped up too long, creating massive bubbles, and eventually will pop. It can happen in a number of different ways, but rest assured the bubble will pop and the United States dollar will implode, creating hyperinflation. It will collapse the global financial system, and there will be a major global problem. If this information is new to you, there are many people that can give you information to get you up to speed with this. But this is not the point of this video. The point is that when this current global financial system implodes, the powers that be will look for a new answer. And maybe you guessed it by now, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies will be that answer. Regulation of the currency will surely come, but from a global institution, and the world will have the global currency it's been asking for decades. So that's its future. It will be the global currency replacing the current global financial system currently in control by the United States dollar, which is the world reserve currency. The reason why I've been so sure of the future of this has to do with my faith. Regardless if you're a Bible believer or not, you must understand that those that believe in the Bible believe we are in the end times. Here is a verse from the book of Revelation that I'm sure you might have heard before. It comes from Revelation chapter 13, verse 16 and 17. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Now the first thing is this mark. You may have seen the many different promotions of the RFID chip people are inserting in their hands today.
Can't believe he just paid with his hand.
They explain many different benefits that people seem to gravitate towards, like tracking, so you'll never lose your child. You can store health records, so the doctor always knows your situation. It can serve as ID, so there's no need for wallets and ID cards. It can open doors and give you access without a physical key. It also can store financial information and allow people to buy or sell with this. Understand, in order for this mark of the beast scripture to be true, we'd have to be cashless. Because in a system that uses cash, there would be a way for man to buy or sell without the mark. People would just use cash. So when you take the RFID chip that is being marketed to the general public as a good thing, and then tie up a completely digital currency that can be linked to this chip, it's very easy to see where the future is heading.
Scripture says, "Know this also, that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasure more than lovers of God, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such turn away." If you'll notice, the scripture says you can't convert them. You can't get them right. The scripture does not say to try to go into their midst and evangelize them and reform them. The scripture says turn away from them.
The Bible says in Revelation chapter number 6, the first one to show up is the man of sin. He's an imitation of Jesus Christ. He's an anointed one. He's the Christ himself. He preaches a false Jesus. He preaches a false spirit. He preaches from a false Bible into a false church. He's an imitation of the Lord Jesus Christ. He does his dirtiest work inside the church, in the halls of religion. For they've already received his spirit. They've already received his word. They've already received his Bible. They've already received his religion. They've already received his politics. They've already received his economic system. The world is ripe and ready for the coming of the Antichrist. Nothing has to happen tonight in order for tomorrow morning the man of sin to step forth and take control of this earth. Nothing has to change on planet Earth for him in 24 hours to become the very incarnation of Satan himself. If you have any sense tonight, you'd take note of that. You'd say to yourself, I understand now why things are as bad as they are. It begins to make sense why this earth is spinning out of control. The Antichrist is on his way. They make fun of him, they mock him, they sing about him, they think they can control him by saying these things. But he's a powerful being. If you have half sense tonight, you know that we could be within a shooting war with Russia in no time. You know that we could be at war with Iran in no time. You know that a conflagration could break out in the Middle East and also in Eastern Europe. My friend, that could make the Second World War look like a picnic. The next war will produce tens of millions of casualties. The next war will bring in the worst famine the earth has ever known. And the Bible talks about how that food is so scarce, that food cannot be found. And it'll be at that moment that you reach the moment of truth in your own life. Will you sell your soul and take the mark of the beast?